Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined in the studio today by Frank Leboeuf, Craig Burley and Steve McManaman as the lineup is set for Tuesday's semi-final in the European Championship. It will be Spain against France. We'll talk about Spain knocking out Germany a little later on, but let's focus on the game that's just finished, which was pretty turgid throughout the 120 minutes. It would go to penalties. France completed all of theirs. João Felix hit the post, and that proved to be decisive as France then through to the semi-finals. Jurgen Klinsmann joins us. We'll be talking to Jurgen in a minute, but I feel it fitting that we start with the Frenchman on the panel. Got away with one.
My God, I don't even know what to say. You know, I'm so disappointed by the way we played.
Well, you said enough during that 120 minutes.
Yeah,
Complaining
mostly, but yeah, we had some chances to score with Camavinga, with Thuram, with also I forgot some others, but we had the chance to score, but we didn't. And since we started the competition, but I don't like the pace of the game we showed today. It was slow, and Portugal didn't help us out in a way that they were copying us. So that wasn't a good game, and especially when you watch the Germany-Spain before, you have to compare. And you have two teams who can win the competition, and two other teams who are, I don't know, quite average, I would say, and boring mostly.
But there's so much quality on the pitch, Craig. You look at the players at both Portugal and France within the squad. Yeah, this game was just really hard to watch.
I don't think it was that bad.
It was, Mac.
Do you?
Turgid. Yeah, I thought so.
I didn't think it was
you want to watch it again?
I'll have a bet next time.
I think it threatened at times to be something interesting.
Threatening isn't what you want.
No, I know what you mean. With the players in both sides, we thought it was going to be a lot more exciting, but then there was so much at stake.
Right.
I suppose would be the excuse, and then the other side would be, you know, people watching this show would say, well, you know, what's the difference between France and England in terms of their performances? I don't think the French have got anywhere near their best, but they've certainly been, I think, slightly better, or a lot better than England, but yet haven't really hit the straps. And then from the other point with Portugal, if you and this is something we just seem to have talked about a lot, but if you're keeping Ronaldo on, which he did, and we've talked about it for days on end, even before this tournament started, what would be Roberto Martinez's go-to position on Ronaldo? I think the answer, we got it, was he kept him on for penalties.
Yeah.
He kept Ronaldo on for penalties when he had little or no impact on the game. He had that one big chance from the cutback that came at him quite quickly when he sold on Pamecano a couple of lovely dummies. But apart from that, Portugal, for all their nice play in the middle of the park, in that position were lightweight.
And we saw Manu make a couple of big saves, didn't we? But apart from that, both teams in the final third lacked that kind of cutting edge.
Yes, they did. Cristiano and Kylian Mbappe, who a lot of the talk was about before the game, were really disappointing, weren't they? Kylian in particular.
Yeah.
You know, you get the fact that sometimes you can have a poor game when the ball is near you, but Kylian looks as if he doesn't want to run. Dembele came on and was much brighter, sharper. Rafa Leao in the first half was sharper and wanted to do things. Camavinga had probably arguably the chance of the game, didn't he? Just pulled it wide. But I thought they were very strange substitutions on both sides of the pitch today for both teams. But you know, France got the job done, and that's all that matters in the end. And they move forward, and again, we'll sit here in a couple of days and go, hopefully, the real France will turn up. But what we've seen so far, they're not going to beat Spain, are they? I mean, we're going to wait and see who plays for Spain. They've had that many people going to miss the semi-final, but Spain are far more impressive on the pitch than France have been.
I think I can make a statement about Mbappe. I think it doesn't serve anybody seeing him playing the way he plays right now.
How much is it down to the old nose?
It seems to be big time, you know, and we can't judge him if we will be better without it than with it. But he cannot play like that. He suffers. He's not at his best, so it's not good for him, for his image, for his performances, and it's not good for France. So, well, he went out. You can compare Deschamps with Martinez, who pushed Mbappe to go out, comparing to Martinez, who didn't do anything for Ronaldo. But yeah, if he's not at 100%, if he's only at 70% because he's in pain, he shouldn't play, because we are talking about top level. And even if you're Mbappe, you shouldn't risk or to put something at stake because you are Mbappe. So for me,
the only thing you would say though, Frank, is then who will going to score the goals? Because Dembele, Thuram, Koulibaly, they look as if they're never going to score a goal. So you're always thinking a 70% Kylian Mbappe is better than 100% the rest of the team. That's the only thing I'd say.
We don't have an answer for that, because I mean we can see that every time, and we saw again Dembele had a big chance to score. It's always over the post. Again.
Yeah.
And what I call him is what a pity, because everything he does before the shot is fantastic.
It's fantastic, yeah.
And after, what a pity. Well, we had Leao on the other side, the same.
Yes.
But yeah, it's hard. But Mbappe doesn't score goals either. So we can take a risk.
But before the knock that he took on the nose, which seemed to obviously affect him, he was on the periphery of the game before that. And I'm presuming, apart from the injury that he's carrying with the mask on, he was 100% to go at the start of the game. But yet he was on the periphery even then. And Maka was talking about it watching this, and he's not doing enough to get himself on the ball. He's kind of happy to stand on the side and sort of wait for it to happen and maybe wait for a moment. So he was already on the periphery of the game then. But look, they'll probably just brush him down, get him right, and he'll play in the semi-final. I mean, barring a disaster, he'll play. But we're talking about Ronaldo being not involved in the game. Even before this injury happened to Kylian Mbappe, he hasn't quite been himself.
Is that fair, Jurgen?
Yeah, I think it's fair. It's not the Kylian Mbappe that we used to see, from the last couple of years, especially, obviously in the World Cup in Qatar, and it's difficult for a manager to obviously kind of say to him, listen, it might be better you come off the bench and we give it a shot first with the other guys, and then you come on and make maybe a difference, or you go with him from the beginning on, and you hope exactly what you said, that with a 70-80% Mbappe, you maybe get in a position to score, and he scores that goal then, and he can make a difference. I mean, it was a game to watch where two teams literally didn't want to lose. They were not. There was a difference to the Spain-Germany game where both teams wanted to win. They played to win. Yeah. And meanwhile, Portugal and France, in this game, they played not to lose and to leave it up then to the penalty shootout, basically, to decide it. Obviously, there was chances and they could have made a goal earlier, but this is not the Kylian Mbappe that we adore, that we all are fans of, because he's not 100%, by far not. And it's a difficult choice for Deschamps to make for the next match.
They can score goal. I mean, on the penalty shootout, they've been absolutely fantastic.
They were great penalties.
I mean, Diogo Jota were never near it. That was amazing. So I said, okay, they can find the net.
Yeah.
So good. That's the only positive point.
When Jules Koundé came up, though, everybody was like,
my God.
Let's be honest. Because
we were shaky.
Yeah, but he actually, I mean, you're right, the French penalties were tremendous. But this is kind of France under Deschamps, isn't it?
That's what it is.
That not always a mindset to entertain and enthrall and outplay opponents, and it's just about getting to that end game. That's kind of how they've always gone about it.
But the French fans can't be happy with what they've seen today.
The French?
Yeah.
Well, the French are not very interested about that, because we are in the middle of an election right now.
Some are interested somewhere watching this.
Some of them, no. I think they will be complaining about the fact that it's not what we want to see. And it's been 12 years with Didier Deschamps that we have results, and it's what he cares about, as you explained, Craig. But the way they play, you have lots of frustration. Also from some former players like you and Miku said, yeah, we're going to remember that team because they have results, but we're always going to say, wow, okay, but that was so boring. Yep. And that's what it is. But Didier Deschamps, again, and I said it yesterday, was raised with Italian football at a time where winning 1-0 was perfect. You were defensive solid, and it's what it is, and you score one goal because you always have a chance to score. You go home, bye-bye, thank you very much. And it's what it is. 0-0, 1-0, on goal. At the end, they're in semi-final.
So it's the last we'll see of Cristiano Ronaldo at a European Championship. Of course, he announced that that'll be it. This will be his last one. Talk to me about him today.
Unfortunately, he wasn't as dynamic as he has been in the past, and I think he was always slightly on the wane. He's a powerful player to have in the team. I expected him to play. It's a big decision to put him on the bench and use other people, but I said it on yesterday's show. Sometimes I think it's not healthy having someone as powerful as him in a team like Portugal when they are scattered. Their squad is I think personally, it's the best squad in this tournament. Yet the likes of Diogo Jota, who's a superstar for Liverpool, Gonzalo Ramos, of course, who has been for Benfica, now at PSG, they have not had a look in. You cannot believe the amount of people on that bench who have played a very, very minimal part in this tournament, and they will be gutted. And that will all change after today's game, because, of course, one man will step out, and they'll become a bigger and probably a stronger group on the back of it.
The people might think that we are bitter, maybe against Ronaldo, but it's not the case.
No, not at all.
It's really against Roberto Martinez. He's the coach. He has to make a decision, and if he has been designed for that team, he has to show up and show his strength.
Yes.
And we already said it. Last time, they got in danger because Pep got tired during the extra time. He didn't change him before. That's the same for Ronaldo. He should be able to say to Ronaldo, listen, you're 39, you're tired, you know, I need some fresh legs, and I'm sorry, I'm going to change you. They did it the last World Cup, and they almost went far, you know what? And it's not Ronaldo. Ronaldo, he wants to play. And yeah, of course, everybody wants to play and wants to stay on the field. It's not his fault. But the coach has to step up.
Jurgen, how would you deal with it?
Well, for a manager, it's definitely the most difficult thing to do is to an established, more mature, or call them then older players, to tell them, listen, you know, it's just simply not exactly the quality anymore that it was, you know, 5 or 10 years ago. You know, and to tell that player that, you know, time over, I need to bring in younger players and I need to refresh the group. I need to create a fresher energy, and maybe I can bring you still off the bench if you're on board with me, or maybe I have to just leave you out of the roster. This is very, very, very difficult for a manager. And it's quite a few teams that have the same problem. You know, you look at Germany, even if they played a good game today, they are out of the competition, so they only played the quarterfinals. Usually, you know, I would say traditional football nations, if it's England, if it's Spain, Italy, Germany and France, we would say a tournament is a failure if you don't go into the semifinals. This is for the same counts for Brazil and counts for Argentina in the Copa America. If you don't make the semifinals, it's a waste of time. You didn't have to have a good experience. So then you have these discussions, absolutely, because, you know, obviously Germany brought back Toni Kroos here. They brought back Manuel Neuer, and brought back on a sub today Thomas Müller. You know, so similar discussion there. And with Cristiano Ronaldo, he is who he is. He's been the player, one of the two with Messi, you know, the last 15, 20 years, which outstanding. But, you know, I mean, we all getting old a little bit. So it is a tough one, because you want to, as a manager, you want to create an environment where there is so much energy, there's so much desire to win, so much urgency to win, which I didn't see that from the Portuguese, but I also didn't see it from the French team. You know, this hunger just to say, you know, we're going to be here until the end, and we want to win this game. We don't want to just lose it. And therefore, yeah, that is a tough one for a manager, but that's what you're getting paid for. That is your job to tell a player, listen, it's just not what it was anymore.
He played every minute.
When
extra time last game,
twice.
Extra time this game.
When Roberto Martinez got the job, we said in the studio here, he's got a big decision to make or can make, and it's the Ronaldo factor. He either chops the head off it there and then and shows that he's ready to make big decisions, or he panders. And he pandered from his very first press conference. Then that shoehorned them into this tournament. And by the way, they walloped everybody in qualifying.
Yeah, the group was
easy,
really weak, wasn't it? And that was the time to say, right.
They played Nations League and they played the group, and they walloped people by 5 and 6, and they were all dancing and singing and scoring goals. And we said, judge them when they get to a major tournament. And let's be honest about it. As Frank, I think, said, this Portuguese team are absolutely littered with talented players, but they've carried a front man. He hasn't scored now. And before the game started, I think it was 8 hours of elite level competition, World Cup to the Euros. That's now with an extra 2 hours on top of that. It's 10 hours. He hasn't scored. He's the front man. He scored a penalty. So they've carried this player, and yet we have a manager who is prepared to leave him on for penalties only. He could have brought Gonzalo Ramos on. He could have put Rafael Leao through the middle with his pace. He could have brought Diego Jota. He could have did all these things, but he took everybody else off, apart from him. So he squandered the opportunity, Roberto Martinez, to make a big decision. A big decision that could have changed this course for Portugal. And that's the thing we said that he would do. When push came to shove, 2 months ago we said he will not make a big decision on this guy. And it's not a Cristiano Ronaldo hate in here. He's 39. You can't keep doing it. And look, Harry Kane hasn't had a good tournament, but he's been on the score sheet. At least he's been on the score sheet.
And it's the fact that he's 39 with so much quality on the bench. You know, if he was the standout player in a struggling team,
if you're Zlatan or whatever for Sweden,
he plays and that's it.
Yeah, or
but
Lewandowski.
it's the fact that he's got such quality on the bench where they are probably chomping at the bit to get on, to try and help their country, to try and get the winning goal, to try and be the hero. And they know that they are not going to come on.
Especially with somebody like Diogo Jota. I mean,
pandered to him.
We saw him playing for Liverpool before his injury, and after his injury, he was the X factor in the way that he was doing the difference every time he was coming on or he was playing. And you see him on the bench, and you feel so sad about him because he has nothing to do. But wait for what? He will have no chance to play. He came on last time, but it was like for somebody else, not at his position maybe. That's sad, because we all said it before, and I'm pretty sure that deep inside him, Roberto Martinez knew it. So how you deal with a big personality like Cristiano Ronaldo, you have to talk to him. When you get the job, you say, well, that's what I want to do, because I know that you are the big image of the country. I want to use you, but I have to tell you, I will have to make choices. And I want you to get bitter about my decision. We want to work together for the best of our country. If you say that, maybe Cristiano will say, of course, no problem, because I'm sure he knows, and he knows he wants to win. And I'm sure he's just say, oh, you know what, you're the king. You're going to play.
Yeah. But competitively, he is playing in a league which is not really competitive, isn't it? You know, he is in Saudi Arabia. I know Ruben Neves is there as well, but Ruben Neves is a lot younger. So he hasn't had that competitive football action like the majority of players has. He's not playing in the Champions League. He's not playing at that elite level for the last couple of years. So that was a perfect opportunity for the manager to say, you know what, I'm going to step you aside. If you still want to come, you can come. You're in the squad, but you're not going to be a starter now. I might put you on and off every now and again, but you are not going to be a starter. I've got younger people who are playing in the Champions League week out, who are winning their leagues domestically in Europe every single year. I need to start them now, because there has to be something beyond your career. You know, Roberto was signed, I don't even know, a 4-year deal. This is 2 years into it. And this, you know, they've gone out, albeit by penalties. This is failure for Portugal with the squad they've got. So now he's got another 2 years where he's going to have to start again. He may as well have started 2 years ago, if that makes sense.
He's made it all about... He made the story all about Ronaldo again when he took the job. That was crystal clear. We're only 18 months removed from the Qatar World Cup, where the same manager failed with Belgium and thought it was fitting to make a guy in Eden Hazard, who had been one of the great players, particularly at Chelsea. He saw it fit for him to captain Belgium and play.
Yeah.
And
same story.
I mean, he was, you know, in terms of being a passenger, he was 5 times a passenger at that point of his career than what Cristiano Ronaldo is. But yet he saw fit for that to happen. And what we saw with that Belgium camp, and particularly at that time, and it's not really got much better since, was dissension started to seep through from senior players, you know, just not happy about it, because the management wasn't strong enough. And I'm not saying Portugal would be in this semi-final if Cristiano Ronaldo had been taken off, but I think they would have had a better chance.
Sure.
And I think it was definitely something, when you looked at the game, you thought, what changes would you make? And I think he was one of the ones that was sticking out like a sore thumb. But I honestly believe if they had a striker that was even better than Ramos, or Diego Jota coming on and playing that false 9, if they had somebody that was banging in goals, left, right and centre, in the Champions League and at elite level, I still don't think they'd play. I still don't think they would start the game for Portugal with this manager, because Ronaldo has had so much strength over this manager, who unfortunately has been too weak to make the big decisions when pushes come to shove. And we've talked about that for months.
Yeah. Roberto Martinez has had success in the past. He hasn't just won a competition to suddenly be the manager of Portugal. Just take us through his mentality and what he's thinking and why he's sticking with Ronaldo.
Because he still has trust, he has belief in him that he can make the difference, that he's still that difference maker when it comes down to the crunch time. Today was crunch time. A quarterfinal is crunch time. Quarterfinal decides if you make a tournament successful or you make it a failure, because it's the semi-final that makes it a success. But it's exactly like Craig said it. You know, you don't want to look back to what you did just now and saying, you know, I had that feeling I needed to maybe make that switch, but I was not courageous enough to do it. So hopefully that's not the case for Roberto. Hopefully he really was convinced that Cristiano will make the difference and will score goals and will do a great job. But we didn't see it, unfortunately. The tournament now is over for Portugal. They're going home with a failure, obviously. So that is something I think is really important for a manager, that you got to do what you believe in. You got to stick to it, and then you got to be convinced of what you're doing. And even if it's an unpopular decision, even if some people will give you stick, if you leave a big name at home or on the side, for the sake of the success, and if you have it in your gut, then you have to do it.
There is a big example. In '98, Aimé Jacquet didn't take Cantona.
How long are we going to get 98?
No, I don't know, whatever.
Let him get it.
No, I just go for something else.
Keep it to the
with somebody, because that's my best example, because it worked. Aimé Jacquet got the gut of not taking Cantona and Ginola in '96 in the Euro, then in '98. He offered the job of a striker for Cantona who didn't want it, therefore he didn't use it. In England, nobody understood that decision. Ginola and Cantona, they were the big stars. They should have played. But Aimé Jacquet stood up and said, no, I want to work with somebody else and everything. Roberto Martinez played the politician who wants to please the majority of the people in Portugal. Not the guy who takes, as Jurgen said, unpopular decision to make the country better. That's what it is. And you have to take risk. What's the point to be a coach if you don't take any risk? What's the point to have that position if you don't say, well, that's what I want, and die with your ideas and not die with the ideas of the others?
He's upset. He's frightened of what people think. He's frightened about reaction.
Yeah.
Now, Fernando Santos already made that decision at the World Cup. He dropped him. It didn't work out in the end, but he dropped him. At least he had the stomach to make a big call. And Ronaldo did not like it at the time, but he didn't want to make a decision that would come back to haunt him, or you've disrespected this guy, when it's really more about, you know, what's the best avenue for Portugal to win this game. The French were gettable tonight.
Yeah.
The French were gettable, but
That was the thing, yeah.
But Portugal lacked something in that fight. They lacked that. There was certainly, from Upamecano and William Saliba's point of view, there was absolutely no danger of that one man running in behind. No danger. So there was. It's not a surprise what happened.
It was easier to mark, wasn't he? Because he wanted to go that way all the time.
He's left him on for penalty kicks, which he did score. But come on, with this Portuguese squad, that's a very negative way to go about it.